stand high. Entering into the atmosphere 69 in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Access granted.
Atmosphere 69. Your own music therapy.
Diversity, equity, and inclusion. Or is it a cult? Agile culture. Or is it a cult? What about your enterprise, your project, your dreams, your company, your organization culture? Or is it also a cult? What is your business purpose? Who do you serve? What product you have or service you do to solve any problem? What do you need to create? A nice space of work? The services? Do you seek creativity and innovation? So today, on this Friday, Live Agile of June the 16th, and a full weekend of Grand Prix Formula One in Montreal. That's why I'm a little bit late, because it was jamming. It's the downtown old Montreal and everything is jamming. So welcome everybody. I see a lot of people right now in the console. Welcome Rumble. And please do subscribe to my Rumble channel, where this is the place for complete, uncensored, uncut, decentralized, and everything else. And once again, today I will reserve a chat, and maybe I will open some Zune audio. You won't be seen on the camera, but you'll be heard, like if you call me as a radio talk show. So I might open the Zoom if there's enough people among the 27 watching right now, all across the board, from Twitter to LinkedIn. And LinkedIn, I don't know if I see the counter because I don't see your chat on LinkedIn. So if you are on LinkedIn, go and do the first comment you have with the this invitation of live stream, and click on YouTube or Rumble link, so I'll be able to see your chat. And once again, I would like to concentrate on the message of today, on my coming out and this Pride Month, and more about all of these things that I just tell you in the intro. And for those who don't know me yet, because yes, you're 75% watching it, more than half of the show every week, and you're not subscribed, especially on Rumble and YouTube. So my name is Alexandre Frédéric Joly, your coach AF. And today I'm going to dare, because I care, to touch a subject of DIE or business agility. Which one should we actually show? And as I said before, to help this channel to beat the algorithm, subscribe and hit the notification, especially on the YouTube and the Rumble channel. And there's actually right now, for those of you who prefer to do your jogging, your CrossFit, your spinning, whatever workout with me, and there's probably the confusion on Instagram. People think I'm a fitness coach, but I need it. I need to be more lean and agile in my personal body life. However, in business and business process, business development, serving client, customer experience, I'm pretty agile for the last one. But anyways, if you'd like to see, if you prefer to grab it, all the link in the description of this live show, and are available for you to go grab it on any platform of your choice, from Spotify to Deezer to Amazon Prime and Apple Podcasts. You'll be able to grab it, put it in your pocket, and run with me. And we have a new episode right now available as we speak. Very fresh one, the five keys to build your dream team in Scrum, with Scrum. It's there. And again, if you don't want to send me a coffee or some Satoshi, I'll invite you to at least smash the like button and share this episode with someone you might want to awake into innovation, early adoption of agilizing everything with me, AF, agile with fun, agile with force, sometimes brutal force because it's needed to disrupt. But and I'm here today, yes, to address this question. Some of you might not like what I'm going to say today. That's okay. You could give me a thumbs down because it's helping the algorithm as well. And yes, DIE, not in university, as Professor Gad Sahad and Jordan Peterson talked about often and often and often, but in the work organization, enterprise. What is it? What it stands for? And it's the Pride Month. And business agility, I thought, for me, the way I learned it with my friend over at Enterprise Scrum for Business Agility with Mike Beadle, Michael Orman, Suryu, Karen, and stuff. I thought the business agility with conscious leadership of Richard Barrett and Stéphane Leblanc. And yes, I'm dropping name right now, is those people who co-create those system, those way of doing thing, being in a state of mind. And all the link will be available in the pine comment of this show after the show for the Rumble and YouTube listener. It is important for me to bring it to this connection because I thought, as a business consultant, senior business consultant, first and foremost, and you could tag me of an agile coach if you want to, or scrum coach, I don't care. Don't care the title, is what I can do for you to help you enhance your capability of serving your customer and serving your employees as well if you're a business owner. The thing is, I thought this movement of business agility, putting agile beyond IT and software development, this greatness of openness, this greatness of creating a space. And when I say a space here, it should be open first, and then you create enough psychological safety for people to feel at ease to express themselves and to collaborate into that creativity. So I thought that was enough. And I thought with conscious leadership, training executive and management of any level will be also enough to give them tools and ways and tricks and trips to actually achieve this invitation and this openness and this agreement with their team to engage people to work and serve their customer. And finally, something happened out of university. It started there. People were talking about diversity. Just okay. So just a little story, maybe. Let's go back in 1996. I was very young and fresh. Some people say I'm still young and fresh. You could tell me in the comment below what you think about it. But I'm entering. It's my last 2 years into what I call the summer of my life, biological life, biological life. Yes, because I think after 50 years old, you enter in your fall, the fall of your life, the season. But that's okay. I'm in the moment. I'm in the carpe diem. But just for memory, and I'd like to share it with you because it's the Pride Month. And a lot of people talk about the Pride Month and why do we have also one in August and one in June? And should it be like the Women's Day? Should it be like all year long? I think so. I think if we're proud of something, and that's one of the questions when Anna helped me promote this podcast this week. What are we proud of? Especially those who said we are part of that community of LGBT, whatever, so on after. What are we proud of? Destroying family? Pissing off other people's beliefs? Imposing them our way of life, our queerness? You know, when you're queer, like I am, and I'm going to explain how much I'm a queer, it's because we'd like to diverge. And that goes also with this program of mine of Divergent Agility, Renegade Agilist that I am, and the neurodivergent. So it's all connected. Huh? There's no like this show, the Friday Live Agile and the Dare Real Agile podcast. There's a kind of a continuity. It's about my state of mind. It's about my approach, my proposition, how I would like to show up in the world, and how I would like to engage also with others in conversation to develop something, to change my mind. But do we change our mind or we just have it evolve? You know, it's like transformation into an organization. Is it a transformation or is it an evolution of what you adopt as a culture and you try not to make it a cult? And I'll do the difference very soon. So, yes. What is it with are we proud of? Because for me, queerness, divergence, it's a really limited, it's an elite of people. It's a fringe. And I used to, since I'm enough conscious of my surrounding and myself, I'm just very happy to be conscious, not to be alienated, but conscious of my state, of knowing who I really am, and affirming it when it's the time and when it's the space. So, yeah, and I think it's an exception. And when you're an exception, you're not the rule, and you could bend the rule, but by respecting one another. It's a little bit when I close the show, for those who follow me for a couple of time, you know that I love to close the show with that. You could be whoever you wanted to be and do whatever you wanted to do, because that's the essence of freedom and creation, but in respect of one another, because you are not the only one on this beautiful blue dot that surrounds a yellow sun. We have to share the space. We have to share the moment. And this is what I would like to call out today in organization change management, especially, and those who still call themselves disgustingly human resources instead of people care and people and culture. Start by changing that department name in your organization and come and lip service me after that with diversity, equity, and inclusion. So being divergent, it's something, it could be seen as a luxury. It could be seen as an exception, as I said. And we are part of a whole that where we have to apply this golden rule. Whatever you're religious or not, I couldn't care less. The point is the golden rules. It's very important. Respect one another. Do to other. Treat others like you would like to be treated. And I'm not watching news. I'm not watching mainstream media. I'm not watching even alternative media anymore. So, but of course, I've got conversation with friends and colleagues, and I'm in the momentum of what's going on, because you have to be around people. You have to understand what's going on and what's triggering them and everything. And let me tell you, in 1996, it's almost 20 years ago. No, 30 years ago. It's already 25 years. So I was still in college, university. I won't tell you all my sexual life or my gender identity. It's not about this. But in 1996, for some reason, I was invited with friends in the village here in Montreal. We call it the gay village in downtown, center south of Montreal. For those from here, you understand what I'm saying. And I've been asked a question by a nice gentleman who was gay, homosexual. He said, what are you? What are you? The verb to be. And that was in English, by the way. So no need to have a context of culture or translation. And I reply spontaneously, you mean, who am I? Interesting. I said, in what sense? At what level? He says, but I mean, could we have fun tonight after the bar? And I answer, you're not my type. And one of my girlfriend says, what is it is not your type? So I've been kind of forced by a lesbian and an homosexual to tell them both to coming out as a bisexual. Interesting. And for those of you who believe in multiple gender, the gender ideology, the gender dysphoria, LGB, that was the first letter back in early 2000. LGB, for lesbian, gay, and bisexual. The T came after, and then the Q, and you know the story. This, what I call the cult. That's not representing me, by the way, as a queer. Because when you're queer, you're self-managed, you're self-organized, and you are actually expressing yourself like this. So we have a couple of chat. I don't know from where, but let me tell you, hello riffing, Mr. Ryan. And as I said, I will maybe open towards the end of the show the Zoom to have a better interaction. I'll let you know, and the chat, actually, the link in the chat. And so I will continue. So my experience in 1996, when I did my kind of coming out, that was not necessarily imposed onto me, but people were questioning me. So you come in the gay village, you have friends from all walk of sexual orientation. So what are you? It was important for them to know what I am in terms of sexual preferences. So here's the thing. Yeah, let me go back to the gender thing. So, I for a long time, because I'm telling you today, I'm doing another coming out. I'm no more a bisexual, and I'm coming to that. And I'm coming to also connecting this to this human resources, DEI, and business agility, and conscious leadership, and probably even an open space. I don't know. Maybe we'll talk about it later with my friend here over at the Open Leadership Network that is joining me this Friday, June 16. And for those who watch the replay, we are living in an amazing time. I'm positive. I'm so motivated and enriched about what could happen, what it's happening, and what we'll build together if we want to. And still with the golden rule. As we say in French, vivre et laisser vivre, live and let live. Ensemble et différent, ensemble or togetherness and different. Diversity and inclusion. It seems to be a reverse psychology nowadays. But let me go back to the gender and sex. My therapist that I love much, Suzanne, I say hello to you. Yes, I'm not shy. I dare and I care. I'm authentic. It's nothing wrong to have a coach when you are a coach yourself. I still got coach in the agility movement, and I have a coach in my life to balance everything. And I'm not seeing her every week, but when I need, and especially this week, I just celebrate. Yes, I celebrate the passing of my mom last Wednesday. 4 years, 4 tour of the sun, she went away. But I'm really happy. I'm positive because I'm working on it. I'm activating what I'm thinking. I am, and I do who I am. And here's the thing. So she told me once, because I had some question about my gender identity. Oh la la. And she said, hold on, Fredo. Let me explain the science. Yes, the scientific method over the coldness of all of this ideology. Because let me tell you one thing, especially you who listen to this, who work as organization change manager, or even agile coach that doesn't even know what do you do exactly as an agile coach to transforming the world of work. The EI, the way it is proposed, the way it is unfolding right now, and most of our organization of the Western world, it's a cult. And it's an ideology based on the misinterpretation of social Marxism, of the materialistic historic theorem of Friedrich Engels and Karl Marx. Sorry, guys, but that's the fucking objective reality. Truth. So, how could you work and improving the workplace, the experience the employee and the customer and everyone could have at the workplace, at the office? I don't know in English, but yesterday I was into a co-working kind of forum to talk about the remote work and everything. And yes, I know I've got multiple subjects because this is my kind of slow Friday. It's the Pride Month, and I will address all of those subjects. And I will open up to some conversation if we have time. But who has time? So, anyways, she told me that scientifically speaking, sex for a mammal, including human, there's two sexes. And at least we had identified with the interaction of those two sexes 5 sexual orientation. Then after, for those of you who'd like to do data sheets and data interrelation or even subtension in physics, you'll be able to make the interrelation of it. So the most common one, of course, in the 5 sexual orientation are straight or heterosexual, if I'm using a scientific language, homosexual, men to men and woman to woman, lesbian, the L doesn't have nothing to do because, yeah, and L and gay, it's another story. This is part of the social effect, and I'll come back to it after that. And then, of course, if you're like me in 1996, because I'm going to tell you the Fredo of 2023, but in 1996, I did coming out because I was harassed to answer the question, who am I? What is my preferences? So there's the bisexual. You see, the term is very important. Heterosexual, homosexual, bisexual. So what are the other two? Is it the transgender? Of course not. This is not a sexual orientation. Is it the whatever other letter, two-spirit for my friend the native? No, it's nothing to do with that. It's a spiritual thing. Anyways, it's not even like... Now, the other two that were identified in the 1950s by Master and Johnson. Yes, the group at Stanford, Master and Johnson, great psychologists. Great, working with sociologists. It's really, Jim Master was, I think, the psychologist, and Kathleen Johnson was a sociologist in Stanford, and they build these kind of thing. And actually, they are the mother and father of what we call the DSM right now, for the behavioral evaluation of your mental health status, sort of speak. But there are other people who created this. But anyways, so they identify back in the 50s. It's been a long time, that on top of homosexuality and the bisexuality, you have individual in nature, and you could also see it in the animal kingdom, that are asexual. Yes, that exists. Someone who don't want to play with his sex or with the sex. So it's an asexual. And the asexual could also have a preference on women or men or both. So the asexual could be the 3 before if they engage in sexual act. But the thing with the asexual is the way they are composed, they don't have an appetite. They don't have what we call a libido. So scientifically speaking, there is nothing wrong with them. It's just the way the hypothalamus, in the scientific biological way, program them. And socially speaking, these are probably among this orientation, sexual preferences, these are probably the one who suffer the most, because in a world of where we are pushed to have family, we are pushed to have sex for pleasure now and everything. So could you imagine you're an asexual and you are always push and push and push and you do things and stuff like this. And I'm coming out about it. And of course, in real study that they do, they realize that on top of those 4, with the asexual is someone who actually need a deep connection to engage. So you could be an asexual, bisexual, or homosexual, or heterosexual, but you just don't have any taste for sex, even for procreation. Okay? And that's a really fringe part of us. It's not even 1% of the population. Like the real transgender or transsexual. Oh, that's a good one too, huh? Science. Let's put back science into managing this business and office space and culture and everything. And then the last one, they talk more in the 1970s, where the demisexual. Yes, demi, like in Latin, like half. Doesn't mean that that person is half sexual or half whatever, but that was a way, because I think when they define demi with the Latin roots of, it's a demure meaning that you could apply, because they were discussing about calling it polysexual, but because of the polyamorous movement, it would have been confused. So scientifically speaking, they agreed on the term demisexual, and demisexual is actually all of the above, but you are also an asexual. So I know the last two part kind of confused because I've just learned it in the last 7 years, and I'm still questioning, and I'm going to do my coming out of 2023 about it. Because by expressing and researching and looking at my interaction with men and women in the sexual act, I realized that I'm not a bisexual. I'm not an homosexual, and I'm far from being a straight. I'm a demisexual because I need deep connection to engage, and because of probably my HPI, it's proven by tests with my QE and everything. So I need something more than the physical realm. I don't care about my body, and no, I won't try to self-identify and create an identification of myself as a selfish, selfie, whatever the trend is today, to add another letter into this alphabet of a cult of fake diversity. So know who you are, your surrounding, meaning the universe you are living in, and you'll know the goddess and the god that are part of you too. So, put simply, from an imposed heterosexual by social consent and manufacturing, I became in 1996 a bisexual because I was engaging in sexual preference with both sexes. And now I discovered why I was so sad, why I was so purged with emotional dysfunction and even some sort of sexual dependency or dysphoria. It's because I give myself away to men and women without that deep connection that every demisexual and divergent need. So that being said, I remember in 1996 when I spoke out of and affirming myself as a bisexual, and this Pride Month. And by the way, the Pride Month was only a Pride week. It was something like around June 4th to June 11th. And it was like just the celebration. It was the gay Pride, by the way. Yeah, that was not the Pride. It was gay Pride. It was only for gay, male, homosexual. The bisexual, I was attacked by the gay community. I was attacked by the straight woman community, of course, by the male dominant power, but this is a myth too. And the only one in this kind of queerness who accepted me were the real transsexual and the lesbian. Because the lesbian, especially the woman homosexual, were again at the bottom of anything into a social scaling. And we are far from the enterprise movement that take care of your well-being about this and openness. And by the way, when I said that DEI is a cult, and yes, it is unfortunately becoming a cult, but if you ask me, all of this value, diversity, it's always there to my heart and everything. I love diversity of everything, nature, social concept, system framework, whatever. That's what make me an agnostic, and I don't care about selling waterfall if it's something that suits you. So that's the real diversity that necessitates this openness and equity. Equity, this, I know in English it's not the same level of, how could I say, determination that we have in French, because in French there's two other words that could be mistranslated about equality and equity. And the sense is completely different. It's beyond translation. And in Spanish, it's even another thing. Actually, Spanish and French are more close together, and the determination of the meaning of equity and equality. But in English, equity, every time I spoke with native English, it's not clear. It's not clear. So, do I have it somewhere here? I think yes, because I'd like to apply the scientific method. So, what did I found in Webster, I think, or was it Oxford? I know. I just have the definition of the concept. But let's go through it, shall we? The objective kind of definition that I found from Stanford University on DEI, diversity, equity, and inclusion, are three closely linked values, so substantiation here again, held by many organizations that are working to be supportive of different groups of individuals, including people of different races, which I despise this because I grew up by knowing that there's no racism among the human, only ethnicity and culture. But anyways, I still don't understand in English why you put so much emphasis on race, because in French we don't, in Spanish either. So anyway, different races, blah, ethnicity, religions, abilities, and I know I did it in French and probably will do it again in English because I've been requested about this. A lot of people wrote to me after my podcast with Isabelle that I salute, Miss Agile. I hope you're doing well. So we did a great talk, great conversation about neurodivergence, neuroatypy. So that was great. So this is the abilities. All your brain is not constructed the same ways, but anyways, then they add the genders and sexual orientation. That's a bit too much, if you ask me, because what's happening in my bedroom, it's not your fracking business if you want to hire me as a consultant or whatever. So I despise it when I apply for something and I see those questionnaire about all of this, making a list, tagging you, using it against you or for you or against others. This is what I don't like. So you see, all it is defined is not even empirically possible to kind of do some kind of iteration or interpretation of it. So, and I found another one into a group at MIT. So from the West Coast at Stanford to MIT, let's try it. Diversity, equity, and inclusion are important to company culture because they foster creativity, fresh perspectives, and understanding, which is wrong. I'm calling the violation. It's untrue. By implementing DE&I, people of different, again, races, abilities, age, they put age in them, genders, religion, and sexual orientation, and other diverse background, of course, the infinite of the devil, can be made more comfortable in the workplace. So once again, isn't it what we do as business consultant that we aim to call ourselves agile coach? If we do business agility, I mean, because agile coach and scrum coach are about software development, right? That's an agile method of software development, right? But let's scale it. So it's the entire enterprise, and you have OCM people, you have culture change people, you have business coaches. It's all fucking messed up. It's all fucking uncalled. What is enough? What is enough to please everybody? Could we please everybody? If I make it personal, every time I hear and read about this, nobody's talking about my demisexuality. We'll all go to the cafeteria of the Apple campus, jumping on a table with my tray, smashing it, screaming, I'd like to be heard, I'd like to be seen, I'd like to be accepted. Is that the way that an individual should invite others to include her or him? Please answer to me in the comment below. I'd like to know your thought about it. Am I the crazy one alone? Am I part of the 0.13 of 1%? Divergent thinking? Or maybe I simply don't understand the psychological safety need of those people. This is probably maybe I took my responsibility of having a coach called a psychologist. And no, for those who know me a little bit more, I'm not talking about my late mother, who was a great teacher. She was also a great psychologist here in Quebec, helping so many women, especially Because yes, she was a feminist, but a brain feminist, understanding the condition of a woman, she will have been able to answer you in 3 seconds what is a woman, and not just biologically speaking on a genitia. Stop it with your fake debate, with your distraction that prevent creativity actually. Because that second definition from the MIT and social science and economy, it's a lie, because it's a reverse psychology technique that arms businesses, organization, and teams. Reverse psychology is a technique involving the assertion of a belief upon a behavior. It's a manipulation that is opposite of the one desired state that you are aiming for, with the expectation that this approach of reverse psychology will encourage the subject or the person to be persuaded to do what it is actually desired of them, not for them. So divergent, high potential individual, like I am, and this approach of divergent and renegade agility with the real core agile values is the way to go for everything. When Beadle used to say, let's agilize everything, that was one of the meaning of it. All department, all customer segment, all stakeholders, supplier, IT, non-IT, business, marketing, sales, everything. We have enough in our toolkit. We don't need new systems. We have to uncover new ways of using those systems. We have to reorganize those systems. We have to tailor it to the context, the culture, the real culture, not creating other culture layer. Stop with it. Oh, agile is a culture. Yeah, but we have our own culture, because when we found the company, that was our vision. So now if we had the vision of agile, and now we have to add the vision of ESG and DEI, I'm confused. How many cultures should my company have to thrive? Exactly. Reverse psychology, manipulation, imposition, control, centralization. The direct activation of valuing diversity for real. Okay. And diversity here, I will value ideas, approaches, not diversity of your ethnicity, your sexuality, your sexual orientation or preference, the way you perceive yourself as a gender identity. I couldn't care less to run my business. Valuing inclusion with the whole group process. And value cohesion. Yes, value cohesion. On the vision and mission of the enterprise, the team, and I will praise the individual character and his ability to contribute to this. I'm modern agile. I love it. Make people awesome. Exactly. Make safety a prerequisite. Exactly. Learn rapidly and ask for help. And deliver value continuously. Now I'd like to take a break if you don't mind. And let's go. I should have prepared for this. Sorry about this. I want you to watch something now. We're going to change the tone a little bit, and we'll get back to the thing. But just to conclude on my last statement, I'd like to quote Professor Gadsad. Hiring people due to their qualification is the greatest expression of appreciation of diversity that any corporate executive could make. But if you think about it, let's hear now a little 1-minute clip from Mr. Warren Buffett. Whatever, I don't like it personally, but I like this part of the message because it helped me reorganize my empathy for executive when I'm coaching executive, and when I try to approach this other way and this divergent way of helping people adapting the business agility concept. So let's go see it. Let me just a second, because I just want to make sure that there's no fucking. That's what. So let me put you on mute for a second, and I'll get back very shortly to you. All right, let's do this, and I'll be able to take a little break, and maybe after, I'll see about the 35 people watching. If you want to tell me right now in the chat if you'd like to me for open the line for maybe about a 20-minute chat and exchange about this. And I still didn't make the link to business agility, but I will after this message from Warren Buffett. Companies should stop wasting time with DEI, and I'll make my stand after that. So let's do this. Ready? Go.
24 men and women work with you, Warren, at our corporate office. I see from last year the quality of the picture has been improved in the annual report, so congratulations on that. However, looking at it, there is something that comes to anyone's attention, and is the lack of diversity among the staff. A 2015 analysis by Calvert Investments found that Coca-Cola was one of the best companies for workplace diversity, while Berkshire Hathaway was one of the worst. You've explicitly stated that you do not consider diversity when hiring for leadership roles and board members. Does that need to change? Are we missing any investment opportunities as a result? And do you consider diversity, however defined, of company leadership and staff when analyzing the value of a company that you may want to purchase?
Well, it's a multiple-part question. The answer to the last one is no. What was the one before it?
You've explicitly stated you do not consider diversity when hiring for leadership roles and board members. Does that need to change, and are we missing any investment opportunities as a result?
No, we will select board members, and we lay it out, and we've done so for years, and I think we've been much more explicit than most companies. We are looking for people who are business savvy, shareholder oriented, and have a special interest in Berkshire. And we found people like that. And as a result, I think we've got the best board that we could have. They're not in it. They're clearly not in it for the money. I get called by consulting firms who've been told to get candidates for directors for other companies. And by the questions they ask, it's clear they've got something other than the three questions we ask in terms of directors in mind. They really want somebody whose name will reflect credit on the institution, which means a big name. One organization recently, the one that did the blood samples with small pricks, they got some very big names on their board. And Theranos, I think, is that the way you pronounce it, Charlie? Theranos?
Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, the names are great, but we're not interested in people that want to be on the board because they want to make $200,000 or $300,000 a year, for 10% of their time. And we're not interested in the ones for whom it's a prestige item, and who want to go and check boxes or that sort of thing. So I think we will continue to apply that test: business savvy, shareholder oriented, and with a strong personal interest in Berkshire. And every share of the Berkshire that our shareholders own, they bought just like everybody else in this room. They haven't gotten them on option, or they haven't gotten, I've been on boards where they've given me stock. I get it for breathing, basically. That half a dozen places that are maybe 3 or 4 that I was on the board of. We want our shareholders to walk in the shoes, our directors to walk in the shoes of shareholders. We want them to care a lot about the business, and we want them to be smart enough so that they know enough about business that they know what they should get involved in and what they shouldn't get involved in. The people in the office, I'm hoping that when we take the Christmas picture again this year, they're exactly the same 25 that were there last year, even though we might have added 30,000 employees elsewhere and maybe 10 billion of sales or something like that. It's a remarkable group of people. And just take this meeting. Virtually every one of the 25, our CFO, my assistant, whoever, they've been doing job after job connected with making this meeting a success and a pleasant outing for our shareholders. It's a cooperative effort. The idea that you would have some department called annual meeting department, and you'd have a person in charge of it, and he would have an assistant, and then they would go to various conferences about holding annual meetings and build up, and then they'd hire consultants to come in and help them on the meeting. We just don't operate that way. It's a place where everybody helps each other. Part of what makes my job is extraordinarily easy, but the people around me really make it easy. And part of the reason it's easy is because we don't have any committees. Maybe we have some committee I don't know about, but I've never been invited to any committees. I'll put it that way at Berkshire. And we may have a PowerPoint someplace. I haven't seen it, and I wouldn't know how to use it anyway. We just we don't have make work activities, and we might go to a baseball game together or something like that. But I've seen the other kind of operation, and I like ours better. I'll put it that way. Charlie?
So all right, so you get the point. I don't know if you get my statement. Like, as a queer myself, as a neurodivergent myself, as someone who might be need what they call in their definition of DEI. Let's go back a little bit about this. Like Stanford says that many organizations that are working to be supportive of different group of individual. This is wrong. This is wrong from someone who might need that support. But the key message here of Buffett for diversity of the board, but the way we manage people. And do we manage people again? No, it's for me again is it's all this reverse psychology of manipulation once again. Because when I help people with business agility and conscious leadership, and this is why that will be my question actually. I'd like to go further on this. I'd like to see other perspective about this. Should business agility with conscious leadership should take care of this DEI? Okay? No more people with strategies and academic stuff and everything. Because at the end of the day, and that was a discussion we had in French with Isabelle when we talked about neuroatypy and neurodivergence and neurodiversity. If someone is physically have a physical handicap, is in need of an accommodation in the workplace or with his computer and everything, so we'll do that. Okay, so I understand it's more complex when it's a mental illness or actually. That's the other thing. Neurodivergent, it's not a mental illness. It's just a condition of being different, of doing connection differently, of thinking differently, and that is something great for creativity and innovation in an enterprise. If it's well canalized, as my therapist says. So, and then after that, your sexual orientation or preferences and the way you'd like to identify yourself, is not all of these things should be left out of work, like your religion, accommodation for your prayer on Friday. So it should be an accommodation if you're really serious about it, based on your agreement with your team, with your boss and everything. Because I remember as a Scrum Master back in the day, especially when it's the Mondial, what we call the World Cup of, for you, the American soccer, but it's football, the Football World Cup, the Calcio. And so we made accommodation not based on religion or sexual or gender preferences. No, we made accommodation for the sprints that we are going to traverse while of this competition, according to among the team member who is supportive of what team and when do you want to have off to go watch the team live. So this is just self-organized accommodation and supporting. And it's the same. I mean, and the interview, if you are interviewed for a job or for a mandate, should not you be able to, when it's your time to question the enterprise if they will be willing to make you some adaptation for transportation or whatever, anything else? Because you choose some places that you're going to spend a lot of time at work. But we don't need a group pressure. What they call it again? The group of individuals. Ooh, hold on a second. Why are you dividing people? No, we should be all at once working for the goal of this company, the goal of this enterprise. But maybe among those people, as I said, the golden rule. So just teach to people the golden rule instead of spending time with drag queen. And I will finish with that before opening the Zoom. A drag queen is not necessarily a transsexual and certainly not a transgender. Did you know that? Because that's the scale. Okay, you have a man who'd like to impersonify a woman. So he doesn't want to change his gender identity and certainly not his sexuality, his sex. Because gender, it's a social concept. So when they have the argument of what makes you think I'm a woman or I'm a man, it's because society has brainwashed me to believe that. No, you've been born as a male or female in nature. Then gender, yes, gender, it's a cultural, sociological conception that you might want to change because we have so much time to waste in the Western world. Huh? We're not hungry anymore. We don't need to run after our meat. We don't need to grow our own vegetable. We don't need anything. Everything is served to us. So we have so much time to spend in philosophy, but not the good philosophy. So I identify as a cat. No, even better. I identify as an orange tiger. And so you should treat me as it. Like, what the fuck? I mean, anyways, I'm disgracing right now, but you see the point. So for me, we live in a complex world, and all of these things are in reaction of the complexity of our world, but they are not proposing a great approach or a sustainable approach. And what I like, as I said again, I'm not pro or cons Buffett, but nevertheless, these guys, they made money for different reasons. But one of the reasons I like is the true agility. And the real agility is putting people first. Now, if you heard exactly what he says, go back and listen again and by replaying this podcast, because he really mentioned that for me, it's about your competency. It's about like working together in collaboration. I don't care about your gender. I don't care about this and that. And we should not impose again. So I know some of my friends at the OLN, they are with me on this. Stop imposing stuff. That include quotas of having that portion of people of color, that portion of this and that. No, it should not be like this. It should be natural. More we intervene, more we impose, more we control, more we destroy. More we let it be, more we praise and teach the golden rule. And I believe more we appreciate the real difference in people, and we put respect and science back into our interaction with substantion. Well, in that case, I do believe, and I do think, and I see it work when I do it with great mind, with great organization that apply more science and empirism. We achieve great things because we have to keep it simple. Every time people complicated things intervene, it's destroying this natural flow of things that could happen. That's the key thing. Stop defying yourself, guys. Just be. Know who you really are. And you are wonderful, you are beautiful, and you are powerful to be whoever you want it to be and to do whatever you want it to do, but in respect of one another. On that, happy weekend, guys.